Hello. You're watching and listening and about to enjoy the loose gadgies. Ugh. Do you know these sound funnier in my head? Sound funnier in my head. So, another couple of shorts this week. And today we're starting with Mark's types of communication. You know, like non-verbals, verbals, that sort of stuff. Pointing fingers, body languages and that. So, Mark, kick us off.
Well, I do this one quite regularly for clients in terms of types of communication, and maybe we've touched in and out of it. The amount of episodes we've done now, I sort of forget where we've been. You know,
and we've definitely covered lack of communication or lack of interpreting someone's communication correctly. You know,
we were just talking about phrases that people use and how you can sort of take them completely left or completely right. In terms of what was the one you just said? It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Aye, it's meant to be. Good things come to those who wait, and it all happens for a reason. I've got a knife in my face.
Yeah, and when I say, not a lot of people sort of believe it, but when they say that only sort of 7% of the way you communicate is actually the words that come out of your mouth. A lot of people don't believe that because they just say, no, 100% of what comes out of my mouth is the way I communicate. But when you just focus on the words, they're just words, aren't they? But then when we attach some emphasis on them and we go something like, I love you, Simon.
Oh yeah, I was thinking if you went up to your partner with your eyes wide open like that and just went, love you.
I love you. Oh, by the way, I've got a knife in my hand. I love you.
Or if you squinted your eyes and said it, even the nicest sentence can be like, well, that was a bit sinister.
Yeah. So you get into bits like what we've just done there. So tone of voice being 38% and body language being 55%. So, and it's always like things like when you go in a room, have you ever sort of thought, and we've been in meetings with management and whatnot, and you can sense there's something going on.
Yeah, you do. You get a vibe, don't you?
And nobody said a word, have they?
And you're just like, a vibe.
There's something wrong here.
Yeah.
But equally, you can also sense when there's something good going on in the room. You can sense that, and nothing's been said. So what's going on? Now it's basically what you're going into the room, and you're quickly reading the expressions, the body language, the way they're sitting, how relaxed they feel. If they're right on top, of the table and got their arms folded, you can probably work out there's something going wrong. And I think we've touched on a few things that I do when maybe I'm not at my best, and you can sense them better than most people. So things like you and Michael worked out that when I was particularly anxious, I'd start cleaning my glasses, wouldn't I? And that's me cleaning my glasses, by the way.
Then you'd be
that one.
Sorry.
That one.
Back in it, and I just say, "Oh shit, he's pissed off."
Yeah, so I'd start scratching the.
He's not happy.
And you know what it is? The fact that you've just done that now, I've got an itchy back now.
And you're like,
and it's, and so when you get it, things like, I know we've talked about anchoring before, but you've created a trigger there with me that is now making me want to scratch the back of my neck because it's taking me back to a place that I know is anxious for me. So the fact that the other one I sort of worked on was when I'm releasing a little bit of tension, I tend to do, I tend to do that intake through the nose and then a sharp breath out, and that's me just releasing the tension. Maybe somebody said something to sort of relax me, and now I can let it go now. So you're actually letting it go through your body language. It's just like
symbolic.
Yeah. It's sort of symbolic, and when if you're in meetings or you're with people and you look at them, you can instantly, if you've said good morning to somebody and they go morning, and you just that morning, that type of morning, you're like, are you okay? But if they go morning, and you know they're actually okay, but even that one word of morning, you can take a lot from that one word.
Cadence, intonation,
Yeah.
all of it. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And how many of us?
What happened to
How
you?
many of us go back for the second one? Which, when they say morning, the way that is not them. How many of us go back and say, "Are you all right today?"
True.
We just go. We just say morning as a way of greeting, but we don't actually mean what we say. So, and I would implore you. Yeah,
It's a yeah. They're,
I know
it's
it's
one of the ones
minefield.
I've. It's one of them questions that I've always struggled with. One of the easiest
Yeah.
questions, perhaps, but one of the hardest ones for me to answer. When somebody, you all right? Right. Is that a polite thing? Am I supposed to answer? How much of an answer am I supposed to give? Is that just one of them? Is that just aye? All right. Aye. Good. Aye. All right. Is it just one of them? Or am I supposed to? Or I've heard someone say, morning. I can't stop myself from saying, you all right? What's up? And
Yeah.
sometimes there are times when there's just a little inflection there somewhere where you're not supposed to ask, and I didn't always pick up on the, I shouldn't have asked. I'm not supposed to ask. Or now I've put them in a position where they'll say they've got to say something like, "Oh, it's out, it's out," and oh, damn it, I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah.
Damn it, I still don't always get that right.
No, but I think
You know, I am genuinely interested. Are you all right? I wouldn't ask if I wasn't bothered. I literally
Yeah.
wouldn't ask if I wasn't bothered.
Yeah, it's fascinating, how you can sort of pick up and a lot of us don't realize we're actually picking up on the mood and the vibe, and actually we should go with it a little bit more and just ask that that extra question, and just or leave it for an hour and then go back an hour later and say, "Are you okay?" Because I sort of picked up this morning maybe when you said good morning.
Yeah,
Give them an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Sometimes it's better to not do it in the moment, but just to come back and say, "I noticed you're a bit." When you've given them time to settle whatever it is that's going on in their head, I'm sure
yeah.
it might be a nicer planet if more of us did, right?
Yeah, and
I-
what
I-
it could be something simple as like, oh, they know they've got a really tough meeting in the first half an hour, so they've got that on their mind. And actually, when you go back an hour later, they've had that meeting and it wasn't as bad as they thought. And actually, they look and feel okay now. And it was just, but the fact that you asked, you just say, you didn't look, and they go, yeah, I had a tough one first thing, and I knew it was going to be tough, but actually it was all right. But thanks for asking anyway, And that goes a long way. It does go a long way with people.
Does.
Just it just shows that you care. And yeah, and the other bit in terms of senses that the see, hear, feel, smell, and taste bit that really gets me is how you talk a lot about how you sort of smell things differently and the sounds you hear acutely because of the way you're made, and it just made me think a lot more deeper about things like hearing. The fact that, and this is all about the communication element, that I don't hear the tap dripping until somebody mentions it, but you hear the tap dripping.
I cannot not.
Yeah,
Cannot not.
And-
And I can't
and-
can't leave it either, even if it's not my tap. I'm sat there going,
Yeah.
how can I get up and turn that off?
And-
How can I stop that happening? Or can I put something underneath it so I don't hear it?
and
Like a sponge.
why when we're in an office, Anita, would probably zone out to the conversations going on in the office, but I will zone into them. I will zone into, and I'll be like, can't do my work because I'm listening
Yeah.
to what's going on,
Yeah.
and I can hear all of them. It's like, and that's the bit that we when we're in conversation. So it would be like if I'm having a conversation with you in an office right now, and somebody else is having a conversation next to us, you would probably work out pretty quickly that I wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, but
So,
and chances are I'd be doing the same. It's like, ooh. Especially if you hear something. I mean, the amount of stuff I've learned from people not knowing that I was listening because I was having a conversation. People assume that because you're in a conversation with someone, your attention is completely somewhere else, and mine never is. And I was like, ooh, what was that?
something
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
Yeah,
earphones were the best thing that I ever did for
yeah,
work.
yeah. I agree.
Putting
I,
earphones in and just to zone out.
I ended up when I was sort of working for one company. I did the same because we had the open plan office, and I got the headphones. I have to say they were a blessing, you know. But the other thing, in terms of seeing, so that was hearing. Seeing,
Yeah.
I think I see when I'm driving. I see traffic in advance, well in advance. I see things going on that Anita doesn't see. So that car moving from lane 4 to 3 in a dangerous manoeuvre, I'll see that. And then 2 seconds later, she'll go, "Oh, oh," and I'll go, and I'll not
Oh
say anything.
no, I'm the same. I'm always looking ahead because I'm like, well, I assume that everyone else on the road is an idiot, right?
Yeah,
Because just to try and keep myself safe, and you can tell when someone is looking to shift lanes. You can see lane behaviour. You can even see where when someone's I can't find another way to explain it, but you can almost see the posture of someone on the road
yeah,
in where they are in the lane, how aggressively they're sort of driving, the speed that they're coming at you. And I'm like, he's going to switch without looking. He's going to switch without looking. Watch. Vroom. Oh, he did. He did. See, now if I hadn't have watched for that, that could have been me right next to him. But I'll hang back deliberately, thinking he's gonna. There you go. Didn't bother indicating. Whee! He's just missed. You can see it. You can see it in the behaviour. You can see it in the. I always think of it as like the posture of the car
yeah.
in the lane where they've positioned themselves. Ooh, he's subconsciously thinking, I need to change lane. I need to change lane. So he's kind of. That's how I think of it anyway. Some of these decisions are already going on in the head, and the hand is kind of starting to move them out of the lane because they're already preparing to go do the thing. So I think, well, I think that's what that is. It's kind of
Yeah.
your thoughts are reflected in, without necessarily consciously doing it, are reflected in the way that you're driving. And
I
you
would,
do.
I
You
would
have to
rem-
watch ahead. There are so many people that there are certain personality types that shouldn't be allowed on the road. And you can
yeah.
spot them pretty easy.
I think some of these
Sometimes in their
traits you
in their
can
aggression.
train on them. As I give you a quick example, I was driving through Gateshead. Warrior was in the passenger seat next to me, and I took the wrong lane on a roundabout, and there was a car on the other side, which was I was basically going to cut off. It would be my fault, and
Yeah.
even though Warrior's in the passenger seat, he saw the car before me, so his peripheral vision is much, much better than mine. But I believe that's through years of training because of what he does. That he saw it before I did, and I'm closer, and he sort of whoa, and he was like,
Aye.
and I was like, oh shit, yeah, and I nearly hit the car. I missed it by centimeters, but I found it astounding that he saw it well before I did, and it's just that
If he's got
visual,
that trained awareness, because
yeah.
he's involved his job in being on the road and being
Yeah. But you can sort of pick up on what sort of communication senses people prefer to use. I mean, the two obvious ones are sort of visual and auditory, and they might use language like, "I'm not getting the picture." Now, what does that mean? When somebody says that, it tells you that they're basically a
Oh,
visual
so,
person. Yeah,
all right. So you're saying it's an indication of how their brain works.
how their brain works, that they prefer
I'm
seeing
not.
things
Yeah,
visually.
I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing
Yeah,
it.
I see what you mean. What does that? If you turn that in English, because you're great at the English language, I see what you mean. That makes no sense whatsoever, does
No,
it?
no, no.
None.
It's
But
a
we say
phrase.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's a phrase. That if you break it down, yeah.
And then things like, I cannot see that happening. Well, okay, yeah, interesting. I can picture a situation where that might happen. So
It's all very visual, isn't it?
yeah, he
You
uses
know,
colourful language. So
it's a
we're
little bit like synesthesia, isn't it?
yeah. And then things like so they were very very visual. These are auditory. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we've got an auditory person with it. Now, if you want to have a really good conversation with somebody, try to reframe it back using auditory, and you might say, "Oh, that rings a bell to me." Yeah,
Rings a bell. Aye.
it rings a bell. Oh, that's music to my ears. That, yeah, music to my ears. That, yeah. I hear what you're saying. All right, I hear what you're saying.
It'd be
Pretty
interesting
good.
to listen to someone and just say, "Do you know what? They always use that particular sense in all of their replies."
Yeah. Now, could you imagine you're working with customers? You've got a customer, a client, potential client, and you work out whether they're particularly auditory or visual, and you sense that through the conversation, and you start replicating that.
Or echoing it back to them.
Yes, they don't know, but you're actually creating a bond with them. So, because you're matching their representation of the world, so that's how they see the world. You know.
So then they can better connect with you because they're using representations that they get instantly. So it's like you're sharing a vibe.
Who do we tend to like more? People like ourselves.
Yeah, people on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Yeah. I go back to the old story about here's a one for you.
We just clicked.
Here's a one for you. So I'm on the Ponticilius Aqueduct last Sunday, and
That's about
walking. Yeah, Ponticilius Aqueduct, 128 feet in the air, and I'm walking along it, and there's a canal boat coming towards me, going at 4 miles an hour, and all I hear is a little bit left, like, a little bit left, and I went, and this canal boat's going past, and I went, "Where you from?" And he went, "Newcastle. I'm just getting this. Give us a minute, like, give us a minute. I'm just getting this." And I went, "No Shields." And by that time he was past me, and he went, "Oh, no Shields. All right, yeah, all right." And that was it, And you get that. So we like people who are like ourselves.
It's like what you said. It's about that familiarity on holiday, isn't it?
Yeah.
You overhear a Geordie accent when you're just sat in the pub in the middle of, I don't know, in Madeira somewhere, and you go, "Where are you from?" I'm just down from Percy, Maine. Really? It's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough. So I'm just up at Hadrian Road. Way. What's the chances? What's the chances?
What's the chances? Well, actually, they're pretty good. Indeed.
Yeah, well, if you're similar types of people living in similar areas, you're going to go on similar holidays.
Yeah. And you forget that statistically, I probably met 2,000 people that day and heard 2,000 conversations. And it just the one that I tuned into is the one I want to tune into.
Yeah. Familiarity. Ooh.
Yeah. And if visually if I saw them, it means nothing to me. But the fact that I heard the tone.
Unless they're wearing black and white stripes.
Oh yeah, that's a bit of a good one. Good point though. Visually, you're right. I would, if I saw that across the road, I'd be homing in on it.
Aye.
So the sort of the summary on that is be aware of how people speak, whether they use visual or auditory tones or intonations in their language, and you can sort of have much better conversations if you recognise.
Is that creating a connection or a manipulation?
Yes.
Or does it matter on your perspective?
It doesn't matter, but you're right. It does create a manipulation, but if it gets you a grand contract, does it matter?
Aye.
I'd call it a skill.
Yeah. Yeah, to be able to pick up on that straight away, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not easy. I'm not saying it is, but once you listen for it once, when they say that, you then hear that phrase again, and then you listen for a different phrase, and you practice listening for those phrases. In the first couple of minutes having a conversation with a potential client or a customer, listen to what they actually say. How many of us actually listen to their words? Not many, but if you listen to the words because you're really interested in how they say them, and then I play this example whereby with some of the clients. So what I get them to do is they have to start their sentence with the last 3 words that they just finished, and that really shows that you're listening.
That's interesting.
You're listening.
That'll be an effort for some people, mind.
Yeah, real effort, because now you're actually focusing on them. And it's great fun actually when you give them points. Now, if they remember the last word or the 3 words, or just use 2 words, I give them points. It's like a competition on how well they listen to the last 3 words, and they reframe them. And you've got to reframe them without really hesitating too much, because now that means like it's manufactured conversation. So we force them to try and make it as natural, but it's hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, so that was focusing on listening to auditory or visual ways of communicating. I see what you see. See what you see. See what you see.
See what you see.
See what you see. Yeah.
Catchphrase. I used to love a bit of catchphrase.
Still on now.
Aye. Watched it. Stephen Mulhern. I'm still not bad at it. Although some of you are like, that's not even a saying. What are you on about? You made that up. A car in the hand is worth 3 in the shed. What? That's not a saying.
It's worth 3 in the bush.
Watch Mr. Chips. Watch Mr. Chips. What's he doing?
Yeah.
He's handing her a heart. Aye.
Open heart surgery? I don't know.
I know. And some of the stuff the celebrity ones come out with, right?
Yeah.
What were you thinking before you opened your mouth? Like, that doesn't even mean anything. Like, stone finger. What?
Yeah. I'm just panicking because I haven't got any points.
Aye. No, keep pressing. There are no bad answers. Just keep pressing.
They are bad answers.
Yeah. There's ridicule on TV is what there is.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Lesson for the day. Lesson for the day. It'll help you pick out the detail-oriented versus not so detail-oriented people, though, right? Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Well, we have an extremely important debate coming up in the next episode. Bearing in mind, I just uploaded episode 33.
Was it?
Who would have guessed 33? This one's 34. We've got 35 coming up next. An extremely intense debate coming up next. So stay tuned. Mondays and Thursdays, masturbate. Should have known. I should have seen that coming. Me! Whoa. Anyway, like, subscribes, comments. Drop your little comments. Things you might have noticed below. What you might have seen on holiday. People you might have met. Or drop us a challenge. But until the next episode, take care.